I have a message for all of the young men out there. Red pill content is kind of like slowly but surely like making you softer and more unwilling to change. It's difficult to make friends as a man who does not consume red pill content.
Red pill and self-improvement for men has genuinely become out of hand. And I've always wanted to refrain from making content like this and bringing other men down. But I think it's time to actually speak up because this is just unacceptable.
Let me tell you, as a Christian mom raising a 12-year-old boy here in the United States, my biggest fear has absolutely nothing to do with him being indoctrinated or whether or not he might end up being gay. Like, I could not care less about those things. My biggest fear as a mom, besides the pew-pew violence in public schools that seems to happen almost every day at this point, is that he would somehow fall down the very intentional rabbit hole that is red pill content. Because here's the thing, as someone who has spent her entire career in the mental health industry, I know just how damaging this stuff can be.
The saddest, most pathetic group of individuals on this app has somehow creeped into my For You page, and that is the sad, disgusting little red pill pussies.
Now, I was a person that used to be in the red pill community. I was a person that used to be in this alpha male space, and let me tell you, it destroys you. It destroys you. It destroys your life. I cut off so many people because I thought they were not good enough. I thought they didn't have the mentality to become millionaires, to become successful people, to have all this money, to have all these possessions. I became so derogatory and disrespectful towards women because you have this notion, you have this belief that women are to be quiet, that women are not supposed to talk back, that women are not supposed to argue, and that women can't debate. But let me tell you something. Because of that, I lost so many friends. Because of that, I went through like embarrassment socially.
There's a silent epidemic growing online. It doesn't spread through physical contact, but through content. It's infecting minds, especially young men, faster than anyone expected. It tells them to harden, to never cry, to dominate, to distrust women, to hate softness, empathy, and connection. And it's being disguised as truth. This is the new masculinity, the algorithm's favorite lie, a movement dressed as self-improvement, but built on fear, rage, and loneliness. This is the story of how the red pill, alpha male ideology, and toxic masculinity have become a digital cult, destroying men, relationships, and everything that makes us human.
I cannot date a man that likes red pill content because red pill content is ruining the lives of young men. A lot of men are so afraid of being labeled a simp.
This is facts, bro. A lot of y'all get your advice on what women want from other men. What makes you think that a man is gonna know more about what a woman wants than a woman herself? I promise you, you will not look like a simp if you bring a girl flowers, if you take her out, if you pay for stuff, if you make her feel special on the daily. Now, if she does something to break your heart, she is just a bad person. But the majority of women just want to be treated well. And I'm not perfect. I will never be perfect. I know that. But one thing I do know is I would never, ever listen to red pill content. That is the blind leading the blind. If you watch some of that stuff, would you ever want a man, if you have a daughter, would you ever want a man to speak to your daughter the way some of these guys talk about women? Legitimately showing that you care does not mean that you're a simp.
Now, I was a person that used to be in the red pill community. I was a person that used to be in this alpha male space, and let me tell you, it destroys you. It destroys you. It destroys your life. I cut off so many people because I thought they were not good enough. I thought they didn't have the mentality to become millionaires, to become successful people, to have all this money, to have all these possessions. I became so derogatory and disrespectful towards women because you have this notion, you have this belief that women are to be quiet, that women are not supposed to talk back, that women are not supposed to argue, and that women can't debate. But let me tell you something. Because of that, I lost so many friends. Because of that, I went through like embarrassment socially. A lot of people saw me in a different light, and to be honest, it's justifiable. The way I was behaving was uncalled for. It was not godlike. It was not nice. And This is the thing that I want people to understand. This red pill stuff is for people to make profit. All these people like Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, and all these other red pill content creators, the reason why they do stuff like this is to profit from getting young men that are vulnerable, that may be hurt from a past relationship or from their family issues or whatever, or from their childhood, and making them into intolerable human beings. Do you understand? Or it could be that people like, for example, Fresh and Fit, the people in Fresh and Fit, they were hurt from a previous relationship, and they project, instead of healing and becoming more mature and understanding to whether to discern a woman who's virtuous from a woman who's promiscuous, they end up projecting that out to the world, their frustration, their hurt, that you see them arguing with like promiscuous women on panels and shutting them down, getting upset at them, saying whatever they want to them, because at the end of the day, that's how they deal with their trauma. And you don't want to be one of those guys that deals with their trauma by projecting negativity and hurt onto other people. You want to be someone who's mature. You want to be someone who's calm. You want to be someone who's gentle, who's kind. Yes, of course, have that assertiveness, have that self-control, have that intuition, have that determination. But at the same time, you don't need to be overly aggressive. You don't need to be derogatory towards women. You don't need to be narcissistic and self-conceited. You can self-improve. You can heal from your wounds. You can heal from your trauma without engaging in any of that toxic content. So don't do what I did and make that mistake and destroy your life. I'm telling you, don't destroy your life.
The modern alpha male didn't start on TikTok. He was manufactured decades ago. In the 1950s, masculinity was simple. Men worked, women stayed home. But as feminism grew stronger, society began questioning the idea of manhood itself. And instead of adapting, some men rebelled. The 1980s gave us gym culture and hyper-competitive capitalism, where your worth as a man was measured in muscle and money. Then, in the 2000s, came the pickup artist movement, books and online communities teaching men how to hack female psychology. It was manipulation disguised as confidence, insecurity disguised as power. But something darker was forming, a belief that women's liberation was a personal attack on male identity. Fast forward to today, and that same belief has evolved into the Red Pill, a movement claiming to wake men up from a feminist conspiracy, when in reality, it's a fantasy built to exploit their pain.
This whole generation of red pill men is so interesting to me when you really look at it, and I feel bad, okay? Because I feel like the men that I talk to grew up, one, without technology, and they grew up with a sense of traditionalism, but not in the way that's being pushed today. And I look at what these young men are facing in terms of like the over-sexualization in society. You talk about poly stuff, you talk about what they have access to at their fingertips on the internet. It warps their mindset so much. And I think, you take your role models from what you see in the home. I was like just talking to someone about this because he was talking about leadership and masculinity, and it was hitting. I was like, dude, this is crazy to hear a man not go full red pill and like actually understand that, okay, regardless of what the culture is pushing out right now. And the thing is, I say that because the culture is really people who are making money off of content. That's why they're pushing out these viewpoints, because one, they know controversial. Two, they know engagement high. Like that's going to equal cash. And it really does affect people, because while that may not be, what that person's spitting on TikTok may not be what they actually do in their home and background. It's like, practice what you preach, like be who you are. And then when you get down to talking to these men about, I'm a provider, and it's like, okay, you're going to pay bills. What else are you going to do? Like, what can you emotionally do? Can you read the room and know when like I'm getting upset or I'm getting flustered with the baby and the dishes and the cooking, and like take over for like, that's being a leader, that's being a man. And red pill makes you feel like, no, you just need a subservient woman. And I don't know. I don't know.
Let me tell you, as a Christian mom raising a 12-year-old boy here in the United States, my biggest fear has absolutely nothing to do with him being indoctrinated or whether or not he might end up being gay. Like, I could not care less about those things. My biggest fear as a mom, besides the pew-pew violence in public schools that seems to happen almost every day at this point, is that he would somehow fall down the very intentional rabbit hole that is red pill content. Because here's the thing, as someone who has spent her entire career in the mental health industry, I know just how damaging this stuff can be. Everyone already knows that it pushes toxic masculinity to like the nth degree, but it also puts being manly into this like weird, small, tiny little box where any sort of vulnerability or emotionality is seen as weakness. And here's the thing, men have feelings. And it doesn't take a therapist to know that suppressing feelings is not good for your mental health. Honestly, this type of content is some of the scariest stuff I have seen in my entire life. Negatively impacts relationships and friendships. It's incredibly misogynistic, which we already knew. And the further down this pipeline that you get, the more that it encourages this like isolation and loneliness, which is so damaging. As a mom in the US, here's what I'm doing. Number one, I'm having a lot of conversations with my son about propaganda, what it looks like, how to spot it, and what its intention is. Number two, I'm having a lot of conversations with him about gender equity and why it's so important. And lastly, my husband and I are living out the example. My son sees my husband making dinners and washing dishes. He sees me working outside the home. He is growing up in a family where gender roles are not prescriptive and we are all pitching in equitably. Because as hard as the red pill content machine is fighting to capture the minds of young men in America, you better believe as a mom, I'm going to fight twice as hard.
Every generation of lost young men looks for a leader. And when fathers are absent, whether emotionally or physically, the internet fills that role. That's where figures like Andrew Tate come in. He tells young men what they've been craving to hear. You're not the problem. The world is. To a generation raised on rejection and social media pressure, Tate offers an escape, the promise of control in a world that feels uncontrollable. But what's being sold isn't empowerment. It's enslavement. Not to women, but to ego. The alpha male aesthetic, the cars, the money, the dominance. It's not masculinity. It's a performance of pain. Behind the podcasts, the cigar smoke, and the bravado lies the same insecurity the red pill claims to cure. The fear of not being enough. And that fear sells. Courses, mentorships, exclusive communities, all profiting from convincing men they're broken, and that women are to blame.
I have a message for all of the young men out there. Red pill content is kind of like slowly but surely like making you softer and more unwilling to change. It's difficult to make friends as a man who does not consume red pill content. Before you react with anger or resentment towards me, please listen to what I have to say. I was a political science and psychology major in college. Not that that means a lot. I also work in the fitness space and I am a combat sports enthusiast. So I encounter a lot of this sort of content. Red pill content is often motivational and it's trying to appeal to the lowest possible emotion that you have. It's usually revolved around fear of failure, lack of value, things like that are very natural human emotions, but knee-jerk reactions are not the response to these. Being truly afraid of the unknown means that you are unwilling to understand things that are unfamiliar to you, much like a child or an infant is unfamiliar with things in the world, so its natural response is to cry. If you are afraid of failure, then you are limiting your ability to grow as a human being. Failure is a natural step in progress and success. A lot of red pill content will make you angry at third parties, other people between you, the content creator, and the outside world in an attempt to appeal to those lowest emotions that you have and try to profit off of them. They are exploiting you. This is why in the past, if you followed my page and seen my posts, I usually detest people like Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, and it's not even purely from a sense of politics. These men are attempting to exploit you and your fears and your insecurities and your inability to overcome them, and running to the solace that they provide you by giving you scapegoats is not going to make you stronger in the long run. Please do attempt to understand things that you do not yet understand. Maybe that scare you, make you uncomfortable, whatever it is. Also, do not be afraid to fail. Who cares what other people think? Genuinely, caring what other people think in and of itself is going to be kind of a weaker mindset. If you care so much about how other people perceive you, whether that's in strength or capability or money, please do your best to become better as men. Like, I cannot take one more strange red pill narrative on my page, or like coming from a peer or someone I call a friend.
No, fitness is not inherently right-wing, but I made this to show you how they're linked. So we start off with a young boy. He's lacking confidence, insecure, lonely, whatever. So he dives into self-improvement content. And who he sees there are guys like Jordan Peterson, David Goggins, motivational speakers, podcasters, whose messages aren't inherently bad. It's things like go to the gym, be disciplined. But with subtext, what they learn is that modern men are weak and their self-worth needs to be defined by their fitness or physique. And then they dive into philosophy, which is often stoicism. And again, nothing wrong with stoicism. There's a lot of good stuff there. But this is where emotional neglect begins. This is where they believe that feelings are a liability and make them weak or more feminine. This is where shit really hits the fan. You have misogynistic fucks like Andrew Tate, Andy Elliott, Austin Dunham, who are telling these boys that they need to be high value. And when you're high value, when you're bigger, you're stronger, women are going to want you more, and more men are going to respect and fear you. And then these ideas are reinforced in the echo chamber. So guys like Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, podcasters, streamers, who typically have right-leaning guests and continue feeding them that same ideology. And what they learn here is that being liberal or having empathy is weakness or feminine. And then they're officially red-pilled. And they have guys like these spitting hateful rhetoric into their ears and believe that men are under attack and woke culture and the left are evil. And of course, out of the bottom of the funnel comes the asshole, like the ones in the comments who have only gone to prove my point.
The algorithm doesn't care about truth. It cares about attention. A single video about improving yourself can lead to another about female manipulation, then to one about how women are the downfall of society. And before long, you're radicalized, not politically, but emotionally. Social media turns heartbreak into hatred, loneliness into ideology, and disappointment into digital warfare. This isn't coincidence, it's architecture. Rage keeps you scrolling. Fear keeps you engaged. And young men, who are often lonely, isolated, and starved for identity, become the perfect audience.
Red pill and self-improvement for men has genuinely become out of hand. And I've always wanted to refrain from making content like this and bringing other men down. But I think it's time to actually speak up because this is just unacceptable.
I found 0 women who are worthy of marriage. There's lots of women who are great and you can have an amazing time with them. But I wouldn't get into a monogamous relationship with almost any of them, to be honest. You get the best experience when you're in a situationship with them instead of a proper relationship. It then goes on to say that's when they want you badly. They fuck your brains out. You have amazing romantic experiences like a fairy tale, but with none of the cost of a committed relationship. You know you're a winner when your only problem in dating is that too many girls want to fuck you and it's a time management issue. When that happens, you won't even consider a relationship because you're getting the best experience already. It then continues with more rubbish, and at the end of the post, there's a link to a course which men can join for a monthly fee.
What I just read is a post from Hamza, who claims to be the Netflix of self-improvement for men. He makes men feel worse and then convinces them to join his course as the only savior to their lives. He has a following of over 2 million people, and viewpoints like this, they just can't carry on. As a man with a few brain cells, I'd like to personally think brainwashing and deluding other young men into these viewpoints is actually stupid and dangerous. And the only way to prevent other men being influenced is to just start having a conversation and speaking up about this. Like, you need to learn how to think. If you know Hamza, you'll know his opinions change based on what day of the week it is. But having this many people following him, it's worrying. This red pill culture is not healthy for men and is only making us more degenerate. Talking about, you're a winner when your only problem in dating is that too many girls want to fuck you and your brain's out. Like, really? Is this what we as men have succumbed to? Success is about being in situationships. That is completely wrong. And for any man watching this, there is success in monogamy. There is success in being loyal and faithful to a single woman. How can you be preaching self-improvement to men but screaming about hedonistic pursuits? In a world where relationships can be difficult to come by, there is honor in having a family unit you can build and grow with. Stop letting these red pill loser influencers make you feel like you have no value and then sell you a course which they lead you to think is the only way for you to get better. That is literally what he does and what red pill is about. Red pill seduces you into thinking it's the space that cares and understands for you. It doesn't. It's just there to profit off you. Start learning how to actually think for yourself as a man, and let's stop allowing people like this to gain attention, please.
as terrible as like the incel culture is and the manosphere culture is, I'm actually pretty grateful for it. And let me tell you why. When you think about incel culture and the manosphere culture and how many men have lived by those confines, you start to realize that that is just locker room talk back in the day. Like, men have always talked like this. They have always been subjugating women, you know? And now that the red pill and manosphere is a big thing, it is starting to open up women's eyes about what is going on with men mentally. And so now it's a lot more out in the open, so we can see it now, if that makes any sense. These are things that men used to hide under the guise of locker room talk. That makes sense? There's so many things that are getting blamed on women, like women are more likely to initiate divorces, women break up their family, like that type of rhetoric, if that makes any sense. Like, I think this day and era with a lot of social media and how these incels and the red pillars are making such a huge platform for that type of disgusting rhetoric, it's just opening up women's eyes to the realization that men devalued us a long time ago. They never valued us to begin with. And I'm not saying all men, so don't get into my comments being like, oh my gosh, you need to pick, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying overall, if you look at how many men follow these red pill content, it is actually insane. And then not only men, but I also see women following the red pill content. So it's not just men, and it's not just women, it's just like society as a whole and how we've been like indoctrinated. But now that the red pill content is out in the forefront, the manosphere is out in the forefront, now we can see. Women are not going in there blind anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were to go on Instagram right now and look up a red pill content page, right? Just name one. Go in there and look, and then see how many friends you have in common with those types of people. You can see it out in the forefront now. Now I can see exactly what you're listening to and who you're listening to and the ideology that you have. You know? And it makes it a lot easier for women to decipher between the two, and evolution has a really good play in this. Evolution is not letting those men procreate. You know, like if you're looking at the red pill content, it actually excludes a lot of good women for you to date because women don't want to be subjugated, especially, you know, smart women. I just think it's like really interesting that the red pill content is coming out and then the backlash that we're getting from it and the men that follow that type of stuff. It is the consequences of your actions. It is the consequences of that type of rhetoric. If you follow that type of rhetoric, there are consequences, i.e. your dating pool gets smaller, i.e. you're never going to be able to get laid, i.e. you know, it's called being smart. Evolution-wise, women are moving up. But yeah, that's that, you know, sometimes there's a silver lining, okay? The red pill content, trash. But the ideology about what it's bringing up in a lot of people and like what it's triggering and why there's so many marriages failing nowadays, beautiful, lovely, love that. Keep doing that. Keep showing women exactly who you are, men. Thank you.
When red pill ideology enters relationships, love becomes a battlefield. Men raised on these beliefs see relationships not as partnerships, but as power struggles. They're taught that to love is to lose, that vulnerability makes you prey. This mindset kills intimacy. It creates men who can't express love, and women who are exhausted by having to fight for empathy. Relationships become transactional. Connection becomes competition. The red pill teaches men to protect their value, but what they're really protecting is their fear of rejection. And when men can't communicate or empathize, they don't just lose women, they lose themselves.
I have built an entire TikTok career off of what this person is saying right here. I've spoken to CNN, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times about how truly dangerous it is right now. That the line that men are teetering on right now, whether they're liberal or whether they're already far right into the crazy abyss of red pill content, the podcasters, the right-wing podcasters are radicalizing young boys and men so quickly to the point where I've seen so many women come on here, speak their testimony on, like, I started dating my boyfriend when we were in high school, and by the time we were 25 and all this red pill content he was watching, it radicalized him. He started abusing me. He became a different person. These red pill podcasters and like radical right-wing podcasters are our generation's, the younger generation's Fox News. The same way Fox News is like completely fucking infiltrating and brainwashing boomers' minds and shit and like spewing hate speech and calling it opinions. This shit is the same thing. This red pill, black pill content, and now I'm learning about there's people even more radical than Charlie Kirk, and now there's white on white crime, MAGA on MAGA crime because of how radical these motherfuckers are getting. This is so incredibly disturbing. No matter what a man tells you he is, no matter what political party he's a part of, if he's watching these fucking podcasters, it's only a matter of time. Like, that's dangerous. If I know of any men that follow people like Ben Shapiro, even Dave Portnoy or whatever his name is, like that motherfucker said that the Freedom Flotilla should blow up. Are these not Nazis? Like, these are just softcore Nazis to me. If there are men in your life, or your cousins, your brothers, whatever, like, be very wary of these people. And mothers of young boys, oh my god, you need to be watching your son's content, man. Like, this isn't something to be taken lightly. I've been talking about this for years.
I just went down the rabbit hole of red pill content, and it's so crazy because the men who watch red pill content, they all have this same outlook where even if abuse is happening in the relationship, usually they're the abusers, right? That you have to stick around and you're taking the easy way out by getting a divorce. The easy way out. That is the easy way out. And you know, people today, they can't stick it out and be strong and create a marriage that's strong. They can't get through the tough times. The thing they don't understand is this isn't tough times they're putting us through, a lot of these men. It's straight up abuse, okay? There is a difference between going through hard times in a marriage and going through abuse. There's a difference, but these guys who watch the red pill content, they don't understand that. They look at abuse as just going through hard times. No, you're being abusive. There is a huge difference. They don't get it. They don't get it. Just stick it out.
Toxic masculinity isn't just a cultural issue. It's political currency. The resurgence of far-right ideology and anti-feminist sentiment online has turned masculinity into a weapon. By convincing men that feminism stole their power, political movements and influencers gain loyal, angry followers. It's no coincidence that the rise of alpha male culture mirrors the rise of extremist rhetoric. Both rely on convincing people that they're victims of progress. Experts warn that this isn't just about dating. It's about democracy. The same anger-fueling men's rights influencers fuels larger systems of hate. When men see equality as an attack, society itself fractures. And that's exactly what the architects of this ideology want: division. Because divided people are easier to control.
The saddest, most pathetic group of men, group of individuals on this app has somehow creeped into my For You page, and that is the sad, disgusting little red pill pussies. There seems to have been an uptick during, COVID times where red pill became more popular, more mainstream, and I think it's created a lot of issues in young men and has created this alpha mindset with the hood on, your hoodie on in the gym, in the fucking summertime, locking in, just those classic corny fucking tropes that we're seeing nowadays. With that being said, there is so much being said about the male loneliness epidemic, but these fucking idiots, you guys are creating the loneliness. Oopsies, dropped my shit. The male loneliness epidemic. You are creating loneliness for yourselves because nobody wants to fucking be around you. Could you imagine the women in your life, if they saw the stupid shit that you were posting under girls' comments, your grandmother, your aunt, your mom, your sister, they'd smack you upside your fucking head. You're a $140 soaking wet. You need to change your perspective. You need to change your attitude because it's not benefiting anybody. It's not benefiting you either. You're angry. You're sad. You're lonely. You're a part of the male loneliness epidemic. You're fucking creating problems for yourself. Get up. Go to the gym. Go on a walk. Go to the park. Find a woman. Be nice to her. Hold the door open for her. Become friends with a woman. That friend may become a lover. That lover may become your wife. That wife might create a daughter for you. And can you imagine when your fucking daughter, if she finds the comments that you left under other women's posts when you were younger? You're a piece of shit right now. Change your life. Become a better human. That's it. That's it.
The red pill told men to reject vulnerability, but maybe that's where real strength lives. The truth is, masculinity doesn't need to be destroyed. It needs to be healed. Strength isn't about control. It's about self-awareness. It's not about how many people you dominate. It's about how much of yourself you can understand. The challenge now is to build a new model of manhood, one that isn't afraid of softness, one that values emotional intelligence as much as discipline. Because the future doesn't belong to alphas. It belongs to men who can evolve. The algorithm profits off your pain. But healing? That's something it can't monetize. And that's where real power begins.